and give glory to God for what he's doing in this house, in this ministry. Men of Issachar vision. This is truly the vision of God and a blessing to humanity. I thank God for his servant. Mommy is here already. Reverend Samson Ajito Mobi and our mommy. God bless you for this great work. And God bless the man of God for the understanding, the passion for God's kingdom and for our country. Because of time, I will go straight to what the church community has to do in rescuing our nation. I will not go to all the preliminaries. You have heard me talk here before. I wrote a book. I want to believe that some of us have this book. How many of us have this book that we wrote? Urgent Need to Save Nigeria. All right, I hope you have it. I hope you read it. It's still available. We printed it, circulating it free. Just to do what I am asked to do here tonight, political education among church leaders. The church community in Nigeria is the only structured community or the body that can contend with the ruling political class of Nigeria. Nigeria is at the mercy of the ruling political elites. The masses, the suffering masses of this country are too poor, too ignorant, too illiterate to raise a finger against the political elite that has caged them, used them, and bringing this country to the level where we find ourselves. The only other structure that can contend with the ruling political elite is the church. And that's why, in my own judgment, all the woes, the crisis, the failure of this country should be put at the doorstep of the church. Not because the church did not pray enough, but because we are not doing the needful. We had prayed, God save Nigeria, God deliver Nigeria, God intervene in Nigeria, and God has since answered that question. Long time. Every prayer of God, intervene for us, God change Nigeria, God rescue Nigeria, is a prayer in repetition. We are asking God to do what he has already done. God has, late 80s, early 90s, God has answered our prayer by giving us a revival that the world has not yet seen before, moving millions into the church. So we will still be praying, but our prayer should be redefined. It should be, God, wake up your church, help us do the needful, help us take over. God has handed this country over to the church, but in our ignorance, we are still calling on him to come and do what he has already done. And God will not do for you what he has given you power to do for yourself. But as individual, as a church, as a company, as a nation, God will not help us to perform our responsibility. And for every God-given opportunity, there is a human responsibility. We fail to do our own responsibility. And God is not going to do that for us. The church is the only structured body. We are many enough. The Christians in Nigeria, we are many enough. We are well spread out. We are well structured. We even have the intellectual capability. We even have the finance. But the church is totally ignorant and dead asleep when it comes to intervening in the governance of Nigeria. We are always asking God to rescue Nigeria as if God is going to come down from the heaven and help us put governors and local government chairmen and president in office. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The church is a giant in slumber, and I pray the Lord will wake us up. May I say this very, very clearly, and if you are writing, please write this down. You cannot change a system you are not involved in. You cannot change a system you are not involved in, no matter how much you pray. He said, every place that the sole of our feet shall tread upon, that is what will become us. If the church will not be involved in producing credible leaders that the public will vote for, so shall we continue to cry in ignorance. There is no way you can change a system you are not involved in. Now, we all grew into Christianity, into Pentecostalism, into Christ, with the doctrine of don't bring politics to church. Don't take church into politics, and don't bring politics into church. That is what brought us to the level we are in now. This is what had brought us to the level we are in. We have become the footman. The church is the greatest and the biggest victim of what Nigeria has become, because we failed to do our bit. Let me also say this, because I have a short time, and when it is time, please let me know, because when you start talking about Nigeria, you don't know when to stop. Nigeria's system is different from all other political systems in the world. Note that. Nigerian political system, Nigerian governance system is different from any other political system in the world. We make a big mistake when we are using the template of United Kingdom or Canada, of America, not even Ghana. Nigeria is a totally different set of people. What works in other places don't work here. Your electricity is not working. Your security is not working. Everything that works everywhere, they don't work here. Why? We are not normal people. I don't mean to be abusive. We are not normal. We are not normal people. That's what they call Nigerian factor. If I hear well, they said they have increased petrol price, isn't it, to 185. We will complain a few days, we will adjust, and life continue. 185. People are buying it at 250, 220, 230. We'll complain a little, we continue. They will hike NEPA bill, electricity bill. We'll complain small, we continue. There is no country like that in the world. There is no country in the world where the government do what they like. The public will say no. They will march to the city square. They will march to the presidential lodge. They will be there until the president runs away. But here, they will bring religion. They will bring ethnicity. Ethnicity, religion, illiteracy, poverty. Those four monsters. Those four monsters in Nigeria will never let us get it straight. Except by if the church will rise up. So, the church must rise up to rescue the nation. How? To be involved at the grassroots. Somebody say grassroots. Say grassroots. If you are writing, write that word down. Politics is grassroots. Politics is grassroots. Political change that we desire can only happen at the grassroots of Nigerian political system. Not at the polling booth. Not at the voting center. No, 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 no. All Christians must have 2 cards. How many cards? You are not talking to me. All Christians must have what? You must have, number 1, party card. And then voter's card. The only thing that some of us have understood now is voter's card. This is my voter's card. How many of you have voter's card as I talk now? How many of us have voter's card? God bless you. But having voter's card and voting on the election day will not put the right people in power. There are two cards. All Christians, millions and millions of us must have. Party card and voters card. Voters card alone will not produce credible leaders. Voting come February 25 and March 11. We put into power the same corrupt leaders. Write it down that I said that. The voting we are all talking about, everybody voting your election or get your card. February 25, we are going to be voting for the presidential election and the National Assembly. March 11, governor and state assembly. We change nothing. Nothing will change because you are only recycling the old corrupt looters. Those who brought us to the level that we are in are the people we are going to put back in the office. The same people. The same people. Look at them. Those who stole us blind. I read in the newspaper these days, and if you follow social media, you can see the PDP presidential candidate and the APC presidential candidate accusing each other. Who stole the most? Who stole the best? Who was the smartest? And when people ask me, because we have two main political parties. There are supposed to be 18. But there are two main political parties. And of course, the Labour Party came again, and the Kwankwaso in Kano. But if you ask me, between PDP and APC, it is saying, between an armed robber and a kidnapper, pick one. That is what it is. We really don't have a choice. Nigerian voters don't have choice. They force themselves on you. They use the money they have stolen to buy the grassroots that must put them in power. And they put them back there. And they ask you to vote for them so that they can loot you the more. So, after elections, swearing in May 27 or something, nothing will change. In fact, it will get worse. And I'm not a prophet of doom. If I did not go into politics, I would not know what Nigeria looks like. What I saw in politics, you cannot see from the pulpit. And that's why I don't blame all you Baba pastors. I don't blame you. Let's pray. What God has already done, we are asking him to do it again. Nigerian constitution is a fraud. I brought a copy. This is the Nigerian constitution. Tunde Jayebo is a lawyer. It's a fraud. It's a lie. This is not a constitution for democracy. This is oligarchy. This is jihadist. This was framed by military generals deliberately putting all the other ethnic groups under one ethnic power, dominating you everywhere. If I may ask you, where did we sit down and we divided Nigeria to 36 states? Where did we? Apostle, where was that? Because the colonial master that gave us Nigeria was structured to fail from the beginning. The political masters that sat on us for years saw that we are not the same people. We are not the same people. Our values are different. Our passions are different. Our attitude are different. Our history, nothing. We are not related in any way. Even when they were here, they gave us two different systems. You remember? Indirect and direct system. Tell me, which country, other country in the world, do you have two laws ruling one country? One for the north, the other for the south. Sharia for the north, and the criminal code for the west. Where did you see that in the whole world? There are two systems of laws govern same people. You say they are together. I'm just opening your eyes so that you can know which prayer to pray more. But I believe the church should rise up and walk. Now, PFN with DPG, We are working to correct these ills if the church will cooperate. So what can we do? Let all churches and general overseers, unfortunately, Mr. Raymond are not here. Those of us that are here, let us tell those of them that are not here. Let all churches, especially, let's start with PFN, join DPG efforts. We are making effort. DPG, the PFN, asked me to be the national director of the Directorate of Politics and Governance, and we are doing our best. We have put a structure on ground that if all of us will understand and support, we'll be talking about changing Nigeria. He said when the righteous are in power, when they are in authority, the people rejoice. But that is the righteous that is willing to be in authority. Now, there are 36 states in Nigeria. We have established 36 state directors of DPG. There are 774 local government systems in Nigeria. We have established 774 directors of DPG. There are 8,800 wards in Nigeria. We are working to establish 8,800 DPG wards, directors in Nigeria. And then, this is where the church come in. I don't know how many more minutes I have. This is where the church come in. The fourth rung on the ladder is what we call the COP, the Church Officer of Politics. Every assembly, every parish, to use redeemed language, or every assembly, to use the other people's language, must have an officer that is responsible for the political orientation and mobilization for that assembly. For instance, if Men of Issachar Vision has 200 branches of churches in Nigeria, each of the branches must have an officer of politics. Just like you have the head of choir, the head of the ushering, the intercessory, the children department, and so on. Somebody who is matured, who is Christian, who is born again, who is loyal, who is faithful, who you can trust. Every church must have, including Caris, everyone must appoint that, including Living Spring, including your church. Every church must. It is this officer, because as pastors, our voices should not be heard, our faces should not be seen. But our church must be involved in rescuing Nigeria. This church officer of politics we call COP, we now register all the adult members in that assembly. They could even be on WhatsApp group so that they can talk to them. And the church officer of politics must be directly responsible to the pastor. The pastor must appoint him, and he must be giving the pastor feedbacks. And then the general overseer of every church organization must give the mandate from the national headquarters that their own church should align with PFN and DPG. That we have not seen much. That we have not seen much. And it is the COP, the Church Officer of Politics. We have training section. We have training manual. We have the National Training Coordinator. The Church Officer of Politics in every local government will be trained with our manual. And he goes back to train all the registered adults in the branch of the church, because we need training. Because we are totally ignorant of how Nigerian state runs. So we need training. And at a point, there must be ward meeting. That is the grassroots we are talking about. There must be DPG ward meeting. And we have all these things written out and already prepared. An ESCO of each ward will be chosen. And at the next World Congress, now listen to this, after the swearing in of Mr. President in May and the governors, politics are. You won't hear all this. But the only thing you'll be hearing is that they take the same to court. You are reading it in newspaper. So if that is what general overseers and pastors are afraid of, nothing to be afraid of. It's once in 4 years activities. After the voting, and those to be elected, they will elect somebody. and swear them in. Whether we are there or not, they will elect somebody. Whether you vote or not, they will swear in somebody. And once they swear in somebody, politics ends. Everybody goes back. Only those that are in office or offices will be working out and be doing the country the way they think. Now, when we are meeting at the world level, at the next World Congress, because we are many, Christians, we are many. If you attend world meeting and see the number of party people that attend world meeting and the caliber of people you will weep for this country. They are the poor, illiterate. When I was in politics in 1991, our world secretary cannot take minutes. Come on, wake up. But only Baba Financial okay. Nigerian political parties in Nigerians are owned by individuals. Democracy is supposed to be government of the people, by the people, for the people. That is only in the book. It doesn't apply here. Parties are owned. And when you see politicians meet at their ward, they are in factions. They are in caucuses. Each faction sponsored by a political godfather that wants to take power at that level. You see those ward ESCO. Many of them are stark illiterate. They will fight over 1,000 naira. But as illiterate, as poor as they are the owner of the power. That's where the power is. They are the one that elect delegates. Without delegates, there can be no candidates. That is why I said to you, when you go to vote, February 25, you are voting for candidates you don't know. You are voting for candidates you didn't elect. You are voting for candidates who put himself there through his own delegates. You saw what played itself out at Eagle Square when they were electing their presidential candidate. You saw what played itself out. So, until the church wakes up and mobilizes this large army of Christians that God has brought into the church and train them and mobilize them to go and participate. We are Nigerians, for goodness sake. We are Nigerians. Many of you don't even know you belong to a ward. Every Nigerian lives within a ward. How many of us know our ward here? We don't even know what there's anything that is called ward. And yet they are meeting. And democracy presupposes that it is the people in the ward that elected their representatives to go and represent them. And we are not involved. We are asleep. We don't even know it's happening. Look at us here now. Look at this meeting, this great conference that has been blessing many. It is only those that are here that feel and know the blessing, isn't it? Those that are not here don't know anything is going on. They are passing by the road. They don't know anything is happening here. That's how the church is. The church does not know anything is going on. Totally asleep. And yet, one law. They are electing themselves. They are putting themselves there. Now, that is the work we need to do. Except the GO, General Overseers. My greatest appeal, those of us that knows General Overseer, please help us to appeal to them. We must thank God for RCCG, our Daddy GO, Daddy Adeboye. I want us to put our hands together for Daddy Adeboye. Thank God for Daddy Adeboye. Redeemed Christian Church of God was the very first church that gave us acceptance and approval, that understood. And they have mandated the whole RCCG to have what we call DPG. And that is why every state, I have been going from state to state to see how much structure, how much what, because politics is structure. You don't have structure, you can't be anything there. To see how much structure we have put on the ground, the way I have explained it, from the state to the local government to the ward to each of the assemblies. Everywhere you get to redeem, because they have been mandated by the GO, they are always there. First Choir has also followed. First Choir has also mandated their churches all over Nigeria to cooperate with PFN, DPG. Gospel Faith Mission of late has also followed. But we have not been able to get Deeper Life to support. Winners, Living Faith, no. MFM, no. Chosen, no. Salvation Ministry, Dunamis. I just mentioned those big ones. It also affects all of us. I mentioned those ones because those ones have national spread. And politics is about spread. It's about spread. So I pray we will understand that we will not only be talking about collecting voters' cards to vote for people you don't know. In Nigeria, voters are treated as disposable. How many of you know disposable? Your tissue paper. When you finish using your tissue paper to wipe your hand, what do you do with it? Show me what you do now. Show me how you do. After February 25, they throw you away. Because you are not part of those who produce them. Politicians only respect and listen to those who produce them. The most important election for a politician is the primary election. Because it is that primary where they are produced for you to vote for. Until the church begins to produce delegates, the church has no political officer that will report back to the church. The church has no governor. The church has no senator. The church has no House of Assembly, House of Rep member. The church has no president that will respect the church. No, they just see you as usable. They are going about looking for a vote now. The only body politicians respect are those who help them to win primaries. And those are the other people that can also stop them from coming again. The church should own the ward officers at the ward. So this year, I said to the PFN and to the body of Christ, we are doing collaboration and negotiation. But by the grace of God, in 2027, if Nigeria still exists, by 2027, it should not be partisanship, it should be ownership. The church should own those to be voted for. The church should not only be active at the voting center, the church must be active at the selection center. We are the one that should select who the public should vote for, using our own delegates by our people that we have mobilized to the grassroots. I don't know how to explain it again. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it is not possible if the general overseers and the pastors will not cooperate. It will not be possible, no matter what we do. Now, the skeleton is on the ground, but there must be flesh. And the flesh can only come when pastors. That's why in one of my postings, I said Nigerian church is an imprisoned church. We have imprisoned our members. Soul winning, vigil, conferences, go out, say visitation, Sunday school. That's all we do. And next to God's power is political power. And political power is people giving. And God has given us people. What else do we want him to give us? So it is left for us. It's like you are hungry. The entire ingredient to cook a meal is in the kitchen. Stove is there, gas is there. What do? You mix it up and cook it. So we are asking God, yes, you have given us all the ingredients. Please come to the kitchen and help us cook. After cooking, please put it in our mouth. Help us to draw it down to our stomach. That's what we are asking God to do. So ignorance. The church is totally ignorant. And I started by saying, Nigeria is not like any other country. Nigeria is not a country where you expect that the political powers will bring you the candidate that you will vote for. I had a news. I'm going to stop now. I don't want to abuse whatever privilege I'm given. I don't know whether you saw the news yesterday. This morning it was in the newspaper. The British Prime Minister was arrested and charged to court. How many of you had it? The current British Prime Minister was arrested and charged to court. What offense? He did not use his seat belt. He was driving without seat belt. Let's start. Prime Minister driving himself. Can that happen here? And then he did not put seat belts. And camera caught him. And the system had the temerity, the power to charge Prime Minister to court. And he apologized to the whole nation. Can that happen here? That was yesterday. You see other clients, when they criticize the government, the president or the prime minister resigns. Those are those who went there to serve. They come here to loot. And because we keep returning them in our ignorance, the looting continues. May the Lord help us. May the Lord open our eyes. Please, all pastors here, all general overseers and those who can reach the general. I mentioned some of their names. Those of you who know how to reach them, they should align with the structure that PFN and DPG has put in place. And by now, we should be meeting at the ward level of DPG, where all churches will meet within the same ward, so that we can prepare for post-election. After election, parties will be looking for more members to join them. We are to join the main dominant party in each state. Or somebody said, can't we float our own political party? No. You can't float your political party and get anywhere. Politics is a culture. We don't have it. It's a culture. We don't have it. But we can infiltrate, which means come 2027, whether it is PDP or APC or Labour or whichever other one that they are bringing, since we are the owner of the delegate, it is our candidate they will be voting for. It is all that we produce who the country will vote for. I pray I have said a little today so that other programs can go on. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to do this little one. I hope you got one or two things. In another conference, there will be time for question and answer so that we can throw more light. I didn't know why I went into politics when I went. It is now that I understand that God sent me there to see what I couldn't see on the pulpit so that I can come back and enlighten my brethren. I see a lot of pastors talking on the pulpit. One sometime, God told me, God showed me, God did not show anybody anything. The only thing God has shown us is that He has given us this country. Go and take it. Go and take it. He has given you millions of people. Redeem alone has over 50,000 parishes. Winner has 30-something thousand parishes. Don't let me talk about MFM. Don't let me talk about Deeper. Don't let me talk about Chosen. Don't let me talk about Men of Issachar. Don't let me talk about your church. Don't let me talk about the CAC, the Orthodox, the Catholic. We are in overwhelming majority. But a tiny few rule us, control us, kill us, and we follow them like Mugu. Because we have been told politics is evil. Don't go near. Just face the kingdom. Don't go near. I believe it's changing. Reverend Ajito Mobi told me, Pastor Femi Emmanuel, be encouraged. So I take your advice, sir. The Lord will help us. God bless you.